Ralph here from Microjig, and today we're going to go over all the features and benefits of the GRR-RIPPER AIR ULTRA 25. So it all comes in this Systainer, and we've got a pair of special edition 25th anniversary grippers. We also have all four of the accessories for them. And in the drawer down below, a couple of new products, the Resaw risers and the Gripper Renew. So we're going to go over all of this and explain it and demo it. So let's start with the gripper. Now you've probably seen me do this before, but the reason that push sticks don't work as well as they should is because we're pushing from the back end back here, and the drag on this side makes that piece want to move away from the fence. And so what do? We put a second push stick here, or a feather board, or maybe your hand, and we try to keep everything under control. The problem is that when the two parts separate at the blade, you lose control. You're still sort of controlling this one with your feather board, but the push stick is the only thing pushing this side, the rip side. And so what you end up with are tool marks along that edge. That's from the back side of the blade, not the front. If your part wanders away from the fence, it's going to rub these back teeth here as they come up out of the saw and leave those tool marks that you see. The problem is not only that we have to eliminate those tool marks later, sand them off or whatever, but there's an opportunity here for one of these teeth to catch that part, especially once they separate, and kick back at you. The gripper works differently. We're going to hold the part from the top down using a high friction proprietary compound, rubber compound, that uses friction to control both the rip and the off-fall side of the cut. We're going to control the cut all the way through the cut. We're going to control both parts. As the gripper goes over the blade, it becomes my moving blade guard. The gripper is always between my hand and the blade. If something dreadful happens, the gripper is going to take the damage and not me. Even if this piece gets ejected, the blade is still underneath, well below my hand. The gripper is going to take the damage, and all of these legs on the gripper are replaceable. So when or if you damage your gripper, you don't have to buy a whole new unit. You can just buy the leg you need. So let's take a look at how that's going to work. I'm going to take and set for a 1/4 inch cut, because right out of the box, the gripper comes with a 1/4 inch leg on one side, 1/2 inch on the other. I can rip down to as narrow as 1/4 inch in a single setup. And so the gripper's set to do that right now. Now, as I push this through, I'm going to keep my hand pressing down on the stock. I'm going to be pushing the stock through the cut, but I'm also going to be applying just a little bit of pressure against the rip fence. The gripper always rides the rip fence at the table saw when we're cutting. That's what guides everything. Now I'm going to make a quick cut, and I want you to watch and see what's different than what you're used to doing. Now, what was different? Well, for one thing, my off-fall didn't stop here with my push stick going through, so my off-fall is rattling against the blade. It followed all the way through because the gripper was controlling it. There's no little nib on the end here where the two pieces separate, so I don't have to remove that. I can go right back to my next cut. And I was able to use the gripper to bring both pieces back around behind the saw blade. So I'm not reaching across a spinning saw blade to get my part. I've got it right here. And we have a very, very clean cut out of the blade. This is a combo blade, and we're making a rip cut, but it still gives me a very clean cut. Now the gripper is also very versatile. I can drop down the blade a little bit, and then I can come over here and go to cut this piece again, but this is no good. We never want anything moving unexpectedly. So what are we going to do? Every gripper comes with a balance support. This drops down by up to 2 inches to raise the gripper up. So I can drop it down here, lock it in place, and now my gripper is tight against the fence. It's stable going across, even though I'm only on one leg. It's not tipping. Now, I could make this cut, but I don't want this off-fall to come flying back out at me either. So I'm going to set my center leg over so that once again, I'm controlling both the rip and the off-fall side of the cut. The blade is going to go between the two legs here, and that makes it a little bit tricky, right? I mean, how do I know I'm not going to cut into my center leg? This SafeRip index here is how I know. The SafeRip index has a scale on the back. The part that's facing me is where I'm reading. And the cursor here is telling me where my center leg is. So the cut I'm making, in this case 1/4 inch, should not be showing or hidden underneath the cursor. If the orange cursor is covering the cut you're going to make, you will cut into the center leg. In this case, we're not going to, so I'm all set. I don't have to make a check pass. Once again, both pieces come around with me, and now this is not scrap. I can use this up. I'm going to go ahead and bring this on over, put it up tight against the fence. And again, both pieces come back around with me. So now we can go get a little bit of Chinese food for lunch. The gripper lets me do this level of cutting with this level of cleanliness. There's no tool marks on these pieces. They're ready to go. Whether I need to glue them together or add them to something else, they're ready to go. Right out of the box, right off the saw, no sanding, no cleanup. That's the level of control that the gripper gives you. I use the gripper at the router table just as much almost as I do at the table saw. So let's say for a minute that this is my router table and I've got a bearing bit in here. I just want to do a little round over and round these edges. Well, I'm going to come in and I know that when my piece grabs that bit, or when the bit grabs the piece, it's going to pull it a little bit into the bearing. You've experienced that before. And I don't like that, especially with smaller parts where my fingers are down there near the blade. With the gripper, I'm going to bring my center leg all the way over to one side. I'm going to put it on top of the stock and once again use the balance support to drop it down. And now I can grab that part, work it around the router bit, bring it back, spin it around, work it around again, flip it over, do whatever I need to do to work that piece around that router bit, and my hands are never anywhere near it. I've got full control and I'm out of the path. Anywhere that there's a bit or a blade that wants to bite you, I'm going to have the gripper in place. So you get 2 grippers in this kit. And why do you need 2 grippers? Well, that's easy. That's for longer stock. I'm going to pull this out of here for the moment for this demo. But if I need to cut a longer piece of stock, the problem is if you're using your hands, we're going to push the stock until we get to a certain place. We're going to shift our grip. We're going to push again. We're going to shift our grip. The blade flexes under cutting load. And so every time I pause to shift my grip, the blade is going from a very slightly flexed condition back to vertical and then flexing again as I push a second time. You will see a big round mark everywhere you stop and change your grip. If I'm using 2 grippers, and they should be set up the same way, but I can use 2 grippers. Notice I'm going to drop the balance support. Anytime my gripper is not 100% on top of the stock, I'm going to drop that balance support down. I can set up 2 grippers. I can set my cut. And then I'm going to start with the first gripper in one hand. I'm going to bring the second one in. I'm going to continue the cut, bring the first one back around, and I can keep doing that for as long as I need to. I've ripped 16-foot boards that way. As long as you've got some in-feed support on this end, some out-feed support on that end, you can rip full boards. It's like using a power feeder without the expense or the setup. The gripper allows me to do that. It's a very valuable technique here at the table saw, but at the router table it's even better. I do a lot of molding and trim work, long pieces on my router table. Not pausing in front of the bit, means I have a lot less sanding to do. I get cleaner parts with less sanding required, and sanding molding might be the worst job in the shop. So that's why we want 2 grippers. Now, we also include in here all 4 of the accessories for the gripper. So the handle bridge kit you see here, between the handle of the gripper and the body, that's one of the accessories. And the handle bridge kit actually allows you to move your handles around. I can loosen this handle here. Let me drop that down. Now this one is currently set up, both of these are currently set up with the handle angled slightly to the front, toward the right. That's not my preferred way. I know other people in the shop here, in the microjig shop, like it that way, but for my wrist and my habits, I do it the other way. And the handle bridge kit allows me to do this. Now, you don't want to do this without the handle bridge kit because you want the force on the bottom of the gripper to be equal. And with the handle connected directly to the body, we want it in the center. So that force is equal all the way around. But the handle bridge kit is a true bridge. Underneath here, there's a gap. And so the force being applied by the handle, even though it's off-centered here, it's not center to center, it's being diverted to the 4 corners where the handle bridge kit meets the body. So that even pressure is maintained even as I move this around. So I can readjust these for my grip. Now it's an ergonomic thing, but at the end of a long day of ripping stock for a big project, it makes a difference. But there's other reasons I'd want to move them. If I'm going to use my gripper this way, either here at the table saw or at the bandsaw, I don't want my knuckles dragging on the surface of the table, so I can loosen this up. I can bring the handle up to the top. Lock it back down, and now I'm not knuckling the table anymore. It gives me the ability to set things up the way I want it and the way I like it so that I can keep working. So that's the handle bridge kit. It's a very useful piece, and it comes with this set. It also happens to come with our regular Gripper Max sets. All right, so now the next accessory I'm going to talk about, since we're on the handle bridge kit, you'll notice these knobs here. These are for the deflector connector. Now the deflector connector is a high impact polycarbonate. It's basically unbreakable. It's a chip deflector, but it's also a connector for the grippers. So I have the option here if I want to, because both of these are equipped with the handle bridge kit, I can connect 2 grippers together, end to end or front to back, in line, and that lets me do longer parts like this one without using the hand-over-hand technique. So in this case, the handle bridge kit is connecting my 2 grippers, and they're acting as one as I make my cut, and I can bring everything back around and it still works. Generally, I'm going to keep both hands on the pieces, but as my reach gets farther, I can break free and then bring everything around together. I can also use these to connect the grippers together side by side. And so, let me drop these down again. So by tightening up these this way, I can make one long gripper or one wide gripper. So if I had a really tall part here, I could do it that way. This is a little bit more rare, but I talked to a customer once who resaws really wide stock for veneers and such, and this is exactly how he does it on his bandsaw. So you have this capability with the deflector connector. But in addition, you also get, it's a chip guard, don't forget, it's called the deflector connector. So again, if I'm at the router table and I'm working with my router bit, and I don't have my, if it's a bearing bit, I don't have the fence in the way, so there's very little dust control. This allows me to keep those chips from flying at my face. Also at the table saw or at the bandsaw, the router table, if I'm working with aluminum or phenolic, those chips tend to be larger and sharp. I don't want them flying at my face. This gives me one more layer of protection. So that's the deflector connector. In addition, we also have 2 of the 1/8" legs. Now, the 1/8" leg is one of our most popular accessories, and it connects directly to the gripper. You can either replace one of your legs with the 1/8" leg, but I don't bother to do that. I like to attach mine to the outside of my 1/2" leg. And again, we're going to set up so that the blade is going between the 2 legs. We're creating an additional tunnel here. So I'm just going to screw that in place. And now I can take my stock, bring my blade up once again, just like the 1/4" cut, but this time we're going down to about 1/8. So I'm going to have the 1/8" leg up against the stock. I can use my balance support over here. I don't actually need it in this case because all 3 legs are on top of the stock, but I've just gotten into the habit over the years, and I think you should too. I generally leave the balance support in place. If the stock is wide enough, I just keep it all the way up, but as soon as I can drop it down to the table, I'm going to. That way, if I keep ripping this piece, one strip after another, as the part gets thinner and thinner here, I'm always going to be set up with my balance support exactly where I need it. And this is going to allow me to make that 1/8" rip. Look at that, I even brought it back around with me. And again, try that with a push stick. You've got an 1/8" thick rip. One cut, very easy setup, no sanding needed. I can go straight to glue with this. I can use this as the edge banding for a plywood project. I do a lot of laminated bentwood products or projects with rockers and things like that. I can rip my strips into 1/8" thickness and glue them around the form, all without having to go through a drum sander or anything else. And I can also recut this over and over again and make little geometric shapes. I use this for inlay bandings quite often. So again, I can come back in and I can just rip this down as much as I need to. So now we can get toothpicks to go with our chopsticks. The 1/8" leg is by far our most popular accessory, and it works really, really well. Now, the other accessory that comes with the air system is our gravity heel. The gravity heel is a physical heel that goes behind the gripper to add an extra push when you need it. And one of the times I like to use it actually most is behind this 1/8" leg. As you saw, making the 1/8" rip on short parts is pretty easy, but this is all friction based. And the friction on this 1/8" leg may not be enough if the part I was cutting was 4 feet long, which I've done. I've ripped 4-foot 1/8" strips. So by adding the gravity heel to the back of the gripper, I can line it up directly with my 1/8" leg tight up against my fence here, and provide a heel to help push that 1/8" piece through. This heel is sacrificial. I might actually cut into it with my blade as I'm cutting, but that allows me to make one pass after another. And the way the gravity heel works, it's out of the way when you're in the middle of the board, and you can adjust it to drop down when you get to the end. That way it's not holding your gripper up when you're in the middle of the board, but when you get to the end, it drops down and it becomes that hook to push through. It can be used anywhere behind the gripper. Sometimes if I've got a little piece on this side that is going to fly back at me and I can't get my leg over it, I'll go ahead and use the gravity heel to push that through. Very useful. But all 4 of these accessories, the gravity heel, the 1/8" leg, the deflector connector, and the handle bridge kit, all come with this 25th Anniversary Ultra Edition, the special grippers that we're working with here. But they're also special for another reason. And let's talk about that. Now, these grippers are not just special in their markings. This is our 25th Anniversary Special Edition gripper. It has a 25th anniversary seal on it. The kit itself comes with a certificate of authenticity. These kits are all numbered. There's only 1,526 of them made. This one happens to be number 5 out of 1,526. Each one of them is individually numbered. We are never going to make this particular gripper again. And you'll notice, of course, that the body and the handle are green. These are all things that identify it as the 25th anniversary gripper. But it goes beyond just the aesthetics here. This gripper is actually comes with the X-Air legs. You'll notice also that we've got some new markings on the legs and the balance support. But what's really different is right here. This is the X-Air leg. And all of the legs of the gripper, all 3 legs, have this feature. And what this is a drop down. You can see that it's a little bit lower than the regular gripper leg. Kind of like the gravity heel I just showed you. This squishes out of the way when you're in the middle of the board. But when you get to the end, it actually rolls itself over the edge and acts like a mini hook or a pusher. It's kind of the same deal. It's automatic. You don't have to adjust anything. You don't have to add it or subtract it. But when you get to the end of the board, you can just put this on and it's going to give you that little bit of an extra heel effect. It's very useful and very effective for your boards. Again, squished out of the way when you're in the middle of the board, and it rolls over to become a hook when you get to the end. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that all 3 legs have this, and the center leg now has a groove down the middle. This is new. You actually have the capability now of being able to make a cut where the blade is going to go not between the 2 legs, but down the channel in the middle of the center leg, like you see here. This gives me a little bit more adaptability. So here, if I were trying to make this cut previously, I would have to have maybe the 1/4 inch leg on that side and then only part of the center leg over here. But now I can set this up and make sure I'm going to cut accurately. Now, how do you make sure that you're going down there without cutting the 2 sides? We're right back to the SafeRip index, but the cursor here has a little gap in the middle. That gap is the same as no cursor. That's representing the center groove. So right now my cut is set to 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to set this up so that the 3/4 mark is visible inside that little gap there, and I should be able to cut this without cutting into my center leg. Raise the blade up, make the cut. So it gives me an additional tunnel and additional functionality for the gripper. So these are part of the GRR-RIPPER AIR 25th Anniversary Special Edition grippers. You're getting the special colors, you're getting the special labeling and branding, but you're also getting the air legs and the ability to cut down the center of your center leg. Okay, so we've got the gripper, we've got all the accessories that normally come with your grippers, and by the way, this also includes the adjustable spacer and the stabilizing plate that come with the GR200. These are really complete grippers. They're everything in one box. But there's a couple of new features here, or new pieces that you haven't seen before. And the first I'm going to show you are these Resaw riser blocks. So the Resaw riser is designed to work with the balance support on your gripper. Now it comes with the hardware you need, and it's designed to work with our dovetail hardware. So basically, you're going to put the shoulder washer into your gripper, and then the riser block fits into that. And I can do that on both ends. So this lets you attach a riser block to the bottom of your balance support. Now, why do you need that? Well, let me show you. So if I want to cut a full thickness piece like this one here, I can raise my blade up and all that, but the problem is that my gripper, the balance support drops down by 2 inches. I can't do this. But I can put this Resaw riser underneath either this way, or if I need even a little more height, I can put it the other way, and we can attach this to my gripper. Onto the balance support here. Lock those in place. Now I can set up my gripper and have the balance support over here where I want it. Now, obviously this piece is too tall. My gripper is supposed to be riding the rip fence, so I would need to put a tall fence here, but this allows me to really get to the maximum height that my machine can make. At some point, it's the 3 inches that the blade can cut that becomes your limit, not the gripper. So these Resaw riser blocks are included in this package with the hardware, and just like everything else, there's 2 of them so that you have 2 complete gripper setups. So the other part that's included with this kit, it's the only single piece we have here, this is the new Grip Renew. Now, this is a cleaner for your gripper. It is designed to be able to drop down into the gap that's between my rip fence rail and my tabletop. Depending on your saw, you may or may not have this setup, but the extra leg, it can also be put into a dovetail groove or up against a stop block or however you want to arrange it on your saw. In this case, it also has a couple of set screws here so that I can adjust it to fit perfectly so that it's not rocking back and forth when I'm using it. Now, when my gripper gets generically dusty, just regular dust and chips, instead of wiping it on my pants, I can just wipe it here. So as I'm cutting, I can clean my gripper whenever I need to. But over time, the gripper is going to build up with grime and dirt on here. It comes from the resins in your wood or wax on your tabletop, and that can build up over time, and it collects very fine dust. You'll notice that the nice clean green here starts to become a little black. When that happens, we need to do a bit of a deeper clean, and for that, we can use a little bit of rubbing alcohol, which is what we've always told you. This comes with a little magnetic plate, or magnet in it and a little metal plate, and I can keep my alcohol bottle right there where I want it, so that's very convenient. So when I need to clean my gripper in depth, I can put some alcohol on here, and then I can use this to wipe my gripper clean and get a brand new, just like new gripper that's going to just grip the heck out of everything because it's kept clean. I always clean my grippers as part of my normal maintenance, once a month or so, whether I need to or not with the alcohol. But now with the Grip Renew here at my saw, I can keep the grippers clean and wipe them up whenever I need to. You're getting all of this in the same kit, the alcohol bottle use supply, but everything else is combined into the same kit, and we can store our gripper and all its accessories in the Systainer, so it's always here when I'm ready to work. So this Ultra 25 anniversary package with the Gripper Airs is only available while supplies last. There's only 1,526 made, and when they're gone, they're gone. You can find them at your normal microjig retailer, your brick and mortar store. You can order them online, and of course you can still find them at microjig.com.
Microjig is celebrating its 25th anniversary in 2026. That's a quarter of a century dedicated to making woodworking safer, more efficient, and more accurate. To honor this milestone, Microjig is releasing all of its newest and most advanced pushblock technology, neatly organized in this limited edition Systainer kit. It's called the GRR-RIPPER AIR ULTRA 25, and there will be a limited stock of just over 1,500 units. With a reformulated green grip material and several design improvements and built-in features, the Air is the best gripper experience yet. The Air gets its name from these perforated grip extensions at the end of each leg, which allow for a better hold on uneven material and a powerful heel effect when positioned at the back edge of the material. The modified center leg has a channel to accommodate the blade, allowing for 2 legs each on both the keeper and offcut pieces, ensuring the best grip and the safest, most accurate cuts every time. The SafeRip kit has of course been modified accordingly to make setting your center leg position as easy as ever. The GRR-RIPPER AIR ULTRA 25 kit will include 2 GRR-RIPPER Airs in a new color scheme exclusive to this kit with every attachment we've ever made, and 2 new pieces never before seen. The Resaw riser block to extend your balance support for resawing and general operations with especially thick material, and the Grip Renew, the quickest and best way to clean your gripper. It secures into the groove of your Biesmeyer fence, and of course, our match-fit dovetail grooves. Each of these 1,500 Systainers will feature micro-jig branding and contain a numbered certificate of authenticity. The GRR-RIPPER AIR ULTRA 25 is our thanks to all of our long-term fans and those woodworkers who itch for the newest and most advanced tech we have. All of these advanced and exclusive items are currently only available in this kit. Make your order now before stock runs out to be one of the 1,500 people who will enjoy this exclusive limited edition toolbox set and celebrate 25 years of keeping our customers working safer and smarter.